we're going to make lemon tart, and we're going to serve that with some ginger roasted rhubarb. The experience of having a custard tart just set is mind-blowing. It's completely different from having it in the fridge and having it set and cold. Like, just set from the oven, honestly, it's an absolute world-class pudding. If you get this one right, it's going to be cool. Let's make some sweet pastry. First of all, we're going to just put our butter in with our icing sugar, and we're just going to bring that to just a nice slow little mix. Okay, cool. Let's crack a couple of eggs and separate the yolks out. I'm going to put them in one by one now. Put a little splash of water in there as well. Not a lot, just a little bit. Then we're going to carefully fold through the flour and take it out. Just using your fingertips. We're just going to slowly bring this together now. There you go. That's basically sweet pastry. And we're going to put that in some paper. We're going to let that rest in the fridge for a good hour. Okay, so let's prepare our little tin ready to put the pastry in. First thing we're going to do is basically we're going to line the bottom with some greaseproof paper. Line up the side with a little bit of butter. You can use oil if you want, but oil tends to kind of fry pastry rather than assist baking it. So the dough has been rested now. Let's just put a tiny bit of flour down at the bottom, a tiny bit on top. Okay, now just putting pressure downwards, we're just going to start helping this dough come apart a little bit. Just try and keep it even at all times. I tend to go from the middle out as well. Just going to turn that over. Okay, so let's just take our case, put it in the middle and see if we've rolled it out enough. I think we have. Obviously taken into account the fluted sides as well. Just carefully roll it up. Case down. And then go over the top. Don't worry if you get a few breakages here. We can fix anything. Bit of flour on your hands. We're just going to lift up using the back of our finger. We're just going to help it go in to the corners. Being aware that it is very fragile. Now I'm going to leave a little bit of thickness on top here on purpose. I'm going to take my rolling pin now. I'm just going to go around the outside to get rid of a little bit of that excess. And then using your fingers, we're just going to neaten those little bits out. So that's going to go in the fridge now for about 20 minutes, just to chill out. You could bake it as it is and then scrape that off after, or we can try and cut a little bit off now. Personally, I like to cut a little bit off now because I don't want any of that kind of crummy cooked pastry going into the tart case. I'm going to get some rice, when you can use beans or even pennies and coins, to be honest. I use rice because they're so small, it just fills every hole in the corners. Cool, right, so the oven's on at 160 now. We're going to go put that in there and give it 15 minutes. Let's have a little look. Make sure it hasn't collapsed on itself because that'd be super embarrassing. It's looking good. So let's just carefully get this out now. So the pastry is not going to be cooked, okay, but we just want to let the inside get a bit of heat now. And back in she goes, 15 more minutes. Tart case is looking pretty good. It's got a nice little brown kind of edge to it. So in 2 minutes that'll be coming out. But what I want to do first is really make an egg wash to line the inside. This will just act like a little kind of protected sealant around the edge of the case. I'm using a fork, not a whisk, because I don't really want to aerate it. I just want to break it down. So we can see we've got a nice little brown colour to it now, even in the middle. It's looking good. So while it's still hot, let's just paste on a little bit of egg wash. I'm just going to put that back in the oven, literally for 1 minute only, just to seal that egg in and make sure it's all cooked. Okie dokie. Let's make the little tart filling now. So we've got some lemon juice, we're going to use some of the zest as well, and about 9 eggs.
That was a loud one, wasn't it?
I'm just going to bring that together a little bit. And then we're going to add our sugar. We're going to mix in our double cream. And our lemon juice. And stop. Right, so we got our filling, we got our case ready. Let's go for it now. Now we're just going to go halfway in here. And the rest we're going to do actually in the oven. I think that's about right. 100 degrees, 40 minutes. While that's cooking, I'm going to cook some rhubarb to go with it. Having two tart things together, it's a bit of a no-no. So we're going to put some ginger in there as well. So I'm just going to microplane some in. So I'm going to get a nice warm pan. Going to cook down some sugar in with the rhubarb and turn it clean off. Take it off the heat. Let that steam away for a sec. Yeah, I'm just checking to see if any juice is coming out yet, and it is, which is quite nice. You see how the colour's changing now on the rhubarb. It's going a nice pale pink. Nice. Just leave that alone for a minute now. Okay, let's have a little look. It's had 45 minutes. So give it a little wobble. You can see how that's got a little bit of a bounce in it still, but it's pretty solid. So that's how we know it's done. I'm happy that's finished. So let's take it out now nice and carefully. There we go. Okay. This part's all terrifying. Just take your time with this. You don't want to spend 2.5 hours on a perfect tart and then mess it up in the last 10 seconds. Okay. Here we go, moment of truth. Having a nice hot knife, it just melts the custard before it catches. Otherwise, it will just pull away and crack. Making pastry from scratch, you can quite easily buy tart cases from the shop, but yeah, I think it's really important to learn how to do that properly and get a nice kind of thin crust all the way up at the bottom and the sides. There's quite a few pitfalls you could fall through and get this one wrong. But that isn't to say that, you know, if you are a novice cook, to not give it a go. You know, just take your time with it, and at the end, you'll be super proud to knock this one out. Right, here we go, bomb, bomb, bomb. You can tell it's only just set, that's mad. It's just crazy light, it's so good. Because you spend so much time on that pastry, it just completely fools the sound in your mouth. It's so wonderful. Custard's just set, it's nice and tart. The little caramel gives it a bit of bitterness. It's pretty perfect, to be fair. Honestly, don't be scared. Jump in.